VGRT Gaming Podcast, episode 697, recorded on September 27th, 2023.
Hello, and welcome to the 697th edition of the TD Gaming Podcast and 530th episode of Video Game Roundtable. I am TJ Lindsay.
I am Scott Dirk.
And I am Jonah Falcon.
The VGRT Gaming Podcast focuses on game news from around the industry.
Right. So, DJ, finally, why don't you go on a uninterrupted praise fest of Lies of P?
That game is incredible as far as just like Soulsborne games and like imitations go, you know? Like there have been so many different developers that have tried to do Soulsborne, and some of them do it well and some of them do it not so well. Lies of P is the best non-From Software Soulsborne game I think I've played. It's just, it makes interesting use of the idea of like what Pinocchio's about, this world of puppets, like the whole world, the whole environment of Lies of P is set in this like, it's sort of like a BioShock-esque world where like they built this utopia of puppets that like basically did everything for everybody until the puppets like went haywire and started literally killing everything around them. and pardon, Pinocchio, being who he is, having a sense of self, he's the only one that's capable of not obeying rules, and basically becomes this thing where like one of the coolest parts of the game is he has this metal arm that can be swapped out with other arms and allows him to do different attacks with it. Like you start out with just a metal fist that you can punch with. You eventually get one that's like a harpoon that gives him like like Scorpion from Mortal Kombat. You can launch it at enemies, tag them, and then yank them in. And there's another one that's probably one of my favorites. It's like a cannon that fires a mine into an enemy that like sticks to them for a short while and then explodes. And the other end of that is like every single weapon that you have in the game that's not a boss weapon can be disassembled into its handle and its blade. And what that comes out to is like if you have a certain build that you're going for, like me myself, I like dexterity and speed and being able to do fast attacks and dodge enemies. So I started with a rapier, like just a quick stabbing sword, but later on I found this one. It was called a boost glaive, which was like a cleaver with a rocket booster on the handle. And the cleaver was way too heavy for me, but I thought, what if I could attach this to my rapier blade? And so what I ended up with was a rocket powered stabbing sword that I could just like launch into enemies, get up on them really quickly, and do big damage, and then get out fast with my stabs and backing off. And you could do that with other things too, like where you might get like a hammer head, and you can attach that to like a fire axe handle and get yourself some very strong, like crushing damage out of that. They also all have like techniques that are attached to either the blade or the handle, and so when you mix and match them, you mix and match those techniques as well. Like the rapier has like this one where you can do a flurry of stabs at once, and then the booster glaive has one where you can strengthen your defense or strengthen your attack. It's just awesome how much you can mix and match your weaponry and gear in that game and make new, basically, equipment out of anything you need at any given time, based on the situation.
Yeah, watching the game, it just looks exactly like Bloodborne. It also has the counterattack, doesn't it? In which you can gain some health by doing a successful counter.
There's a guard, and if you manage to do a guard right before an enemy attack would hit you, then you don't take any damage, and you can attack them right back immediately. And if you don't manage to do a perfect guard, then they'll do damage to you, but it'll like be as like fake damage, where if you attack them back, you can get your health back based off the damage that you took from guarding. And yeah, like I think one of the very few issues I had with the game was that like the bosses are really cool, the mid bosses are really cool. The small fry is kind of boring because they're all puppets and they all work in very similar ways. So like I wasn't very thrilled with like the fodder that you fight through the game because they're all kind of samey to me. But other than that, it's a very good take on Soulsborne. A very interesting use of the Pinocchio franchise.
More of the Born part of Soulsborne.
Mm-hmm.
But on the other hand, there's a lot of people who, since Bloodborne's never coming to PC, there's a lot of people who really wanted to play Bloodborne on their platform. So it's on every platform except for Switch. Although, I can see this going on Switch too. It's not like it's so weighty graphically. I'm pretty sure they can fit it on the Switch if they really wanted to release it there.
Yeah, I would say that's probably fair.
Scott, what have you been playing?
I went back to playing Baldur's Gate 3 after completing Sea of Stars, and just dove right back into Baldur's Gate 3, and I found I guess he's a monster hunter kind of character, and he was hunting Asterion, and I just handed over Asterion to him, and he took him out of my party permanently. And I gotta really respect Larian for giving the power of having that choice of eliminating a character if you really don't want them in your party anymore. And I had tried out one of Wither's little summoning an NPC for you, but it's more like a puppet for Withers to act through, so it really comes off very creepy. So that's what I've been playing.
Cool. The only real new game that I've been playing is Party Animals, which is a live service. It's sort of like a Fall Guys game, except it's more like mini game. Just a series of things that you can do. And as frustrating as it can be sometimes, and it's also a live service game, so you see like, oh look, Ori, you can dress as Ori, but you need to have this much virtual currency. I still have a great time. I play as the duck without a costume because he looks exactly like Psyduck. So I just figure myself as being Psyduck, just going nuts. And a lot of the time, there's just so much... it just makes you laugh all the time. I was once on a bridge, because everything's physics-based, and what happens is the bridge is slowly collapsing, and people are whacking each other, trying to knock each other off. I'm there, and I fall, and then I hang on, because you can grab this guy, hang on to the bottom of the bridge. But the thing is, I'm stuck between the rope on the bottom of the bridge and the bridge. And one thing you can do if you're knocked out, you can start sending bombs and wood things to knock people off. And the funny thing is, I was actually braced by that rope against the bridge. So I kept on getting knocked out, but there I would be just hanging back and not falling. It's like, no matter what anybody could do, they could not knock me off because I was braced there, and we won simply because the other guy couldn't hold on any longer, and I was just kept on getting knocked out but staying on. It's a very fun game. It can be a bummer if you have teammates and they're uncoordinated, untalented. Like there's one that's basically soccer. It's oh god, I can't believe I forgot the name. The soccer game with cars. The soccer game with cars, right? Anyways, it's like that except with these mascots, and we just got blown out 7-0 because they just couldn't coordinate. Sometimes it's great, sometimes not. It's fine, but it's really fun. I just wish it wasn't so live servicey. Anyways,
Rocket League, right?
Yeah, Rocket League.
That's the one you're thinking of.
Yeah, Rocket League. It's like Rocket League except it's with furry mascots. So, anyways, I lost my side. Oh, there we are. There's a bunch of minor news that we are going to talk about because this week is full of news. The first one is the quick news includes EA Sports FC 24 isn't even out yet, and FIFA 3 has already been removed from Steam and other storefronts. FIFA 22 and 23 are still available through EA Play, but otherwise they're gone. You can obviously still download them. But yeah, EA is just rushing out immediately to get rid of any sense of FIFA. No, it's FC now.
Yeah, like this is like a scorched earth thing. I guess we should have expected this one because like it's the FIFA license and FIFA is.
Oh, let me put it this way. You think EA are money-grubbing pricks?
Yeah.
FIFA has them beat by a country mile. There's not even any sort of comparison. Just remember the last World Cup was in Qatar.
Yeah, it's and like I guess to that extent, like we should have seen this coming, but I didn't even think about it up until it happened.
I'm not even upset. I say fuck FIFA. Fuck them.
Yeah, but that's really kind of sucks for anyone that.
I mean, if you already own it, you still own it. I mean, even FIFA 2, who cares? I mean, they do the same thing with NBA. You still play it on EA Play at the very least. Although as soon as FC 24 comes out, that's it. It'll be like it never existed too. Far Cry 7 will reportedly see players attempting to rescue their kidnapped family against the clock and will feature enemy interrogations. Two things. One, I don't care about Far Cry anymore. Not after 6. And two, does it sound like they're trying to be Splinter Cell?
I don't know. Like, I haven't played too many Far Cry games beyond Far Cry 2 and Far Cry 3, so it doesn't really. I mean, I guess I didn't know that they didn't have some of these features already.
Yeah.
Like interrogations, I mean. Like that seems like something that should have been in a Far Cry game already.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, the last Far Cry game I really had fun with was number 2. But I have to say I never played 3 or 4. And I know everybody loves 3 and 4, but I'm just saying the last good Far Cry game I played was 2, but only because I never played 3 or 4. 5 sucked. Primal sucked. So 6 really sucked.
Yeah, they. I don't even.
What a waste of Giancarlo. Sorry. What was his name again? Jesus, it's not Giancarlo.
Giancarlo Esposito.
I was about to say Giancarlo Stanton. It's like, oops, wrong Giancarlo. Because Giancarlo Esposito is good in everything he does. Just this, his talents are wasted.
Yeah, I feel like Far Cry's only real identity has been a beautiful shooter, and it doesn't really matter outside of that. Because every single Far Cry has been like just completely something different from the one before it, and in the way that like it's really never been about any given narrative or connective tissue. It's just more like this is the prettiest open world first person shooter.
Yeah. And the funny thing is that, Far Cry and Crysis are sister games, and we haven't seen a new Crysis in a long time already.
The last week, I feel like Crytek said they were working on the next Crysis a while back, and we haven't heard anything about it since they showed the logo.
I don't know. So, next item is... Sorry, I'm sort of... Vampire Survivors is getting a frosty new map in a free chilling update soon, plus a new character, weapon, and more. This game just keeps on giving. And the funny thing is, Vampire Survivors is just a few bucks. And the DLC is like, what? Usually just $2 each. It's like, it's on Game Pass, but I just bought it outright. There's no reason not to buy Vampire Survivors, because I haven't played in like 6 weeks, but I know there's going to be a time in which I'm bored, and I'm saying, you know what? I'm just going to do a few rounds of Vampire Survivors.
Vampire Survivors is hands down my fast forward button on life for things when I don't want time to run slow. And like what I mean by that is like it is my survival tool for getting through long flights at the airport. I don't know what I would do without it, because like at this point I've used it to get through just about every business trip I've had this year, and especially when I can't sleep, because every game that you play in Vampire Survivors is if you make it to the end of the level, it's 30 minutes long, and that doesn't include like the time stopping for you to get upgrades and new and level ups and all that stuff. So it is a solid gold time killer. Like,
Yeah.
I love how fast it makes my life run when I need it to. I won't play it outside of those times because it's a fast track to wasting a whole day in no time.
And not to mention, I played it a lot. I still haven't unlocked a lot of stuff, and it's like it just keeps on giving you that carrot. Okay, if you do this, might unlock this, and it keeps going like that.
Yeah. You unlock all these characters, and you can beat each of the stages with them, and you can get more stuff, and then eventually you unlock a secrets menu that gives you interesting little challenges that you can do.
And I just got to the part in which you actually teleport into this like alternate world. It's like a heavenly corridor, and it's like it's like you running through that, and you really have nowhere to move because it's a corridor. It's like all these things just pop up, and it's like, wait, what? That happens too? And all these new weapons keep popping up, and some of them are really and some of them are really good. Some of them are like, oh, whatever. My strategy is still to get the one that destroys everything on the screen and upgrade that to the one in which everything's just the rainbow sparkle and you keep getting gems. But nothing stops death when it's 3 minutes. 30 minutes. You can revive yourself, but then he just humps you again. Next news item is Statue Maker Gaming Heads told to destroy all PlayStation merchandise, it claims. And they say this is Sony PlayStation decisions, not ours. So something must have gone wrong with the license.
That just sounds so messed up. I don't know why they would destroy merchandise that people had already paid for. It just really is just going to piss people off.
Yeah, and the thing is that the main crux of this is that people are trying to find out who to get refunds from, and Gaming Hit says, ask Sony. Which is kind of dickish on their part. I don't know what's going on there. It's just a mess, and the only people who are getting screwed are the people who actually enjoy those figurines, because Gaming Heads make some really nice ones. I've seen the Harley Quinn one, because they're basically a publisher wants, hey, can you make statues for us? And say sure.
Yeah, it feels like something like somebody isn't telling the whole story, and I don't know, like especially the part where like going and saying you should get your refund from PlayStation is kind of like, I don't know, trying to throw the whole blame onto PlayStation.
But the problem, here's the thing, Sony said nothing. It's like, at least say something, Sony.
Yeah, I agree. It's something that Sony probably needs to address at some point, because especially if people are being directed to get their refunds from Sony.
Yeah, they Gaming Heads wrote this entire long thing on Facebook and Twitter, and it's like a really depressing read. You don't want to see anybody, and it's not like Gaming Heads is some fly-by-night. Like I said, a lot of publishers and a lot of companies use them to make statues of their characters. DC, Marvel, that sort of thing. So I don't know what's going on. It's just I don't really care about the blame. The only thing is that the people who shelled out money for these statues, and they're not cheap, by the way, need to get their refunds.
Yeah, I agree. It's petty, and they, like, whoever's on the line for this, it sounds like to a certain extent the Gaming Heads doesn't want to be left holding the bag, but I don't know if that's the way to go about it.
We'll know something and say if Sony decides to hire someone else, it's like, oh, that's what happened. Someone was going to do it for cheaper. But then it's really scummy. Just let people get their statues and destroy the inventory that no one's bought,
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, Bethesda nerfed the hell out of Starfield's planet atmosphere effects, originally very punitive. So, yeah, if you go onto a planet and it has, like, extreme cold or something like that, if you're not in a spacesuit, you're gonna get damaged right away. Hint: don't go to Pluto without a spacesuit on. But what will happen is your spacesuit has a rating, and after a while, say you're in a suit that only gives 50%, it's after a while you start getting frostbite, right? all these different things. So apparently, it used to have a lot more penal. It used to be a lot more difficult. If you were going to go on a Venus and you only had a regular spacesuit, you're going to get toasted at some point really quickly, and the damage was going to be a lot more debilitating. And strangely, you know what? I want that. I want that. I want it. If you go onto a planet that's hazardous, it should be really hazardous. You better get ready for it. Like I breathe in toxic gas. It gives me a lung damage, and all I do is cough every so often. I mean, your maximum hit points go down for a while until you get back into. I would like it. Here's the thing: Fallout New Vegas added that realism thing in which you had to drink and you had to eat or you'd starve. That mode in Fallout New Vegas. I want to see that for Starfield, in which, if you want to go onto a planet that's hazardous, you better be prepared.
Yeah, I mean, I also saw that thing about like they made the AI like purposely set up so that you wouldn't like crash into stuff as you were flying through, and I don't know, like it seems.
Oh, you do crash into stuff in your ship, but you do have a shield.
It just seems like there were certain parts of this that were like it could have been a little bit more hardcore, and they were worried about it not appealing to a broad audience, and so they kind of like stripped away those elements that would have made it complicated or difficult, which, like, I don't know. Those are the kind of things I like to figure out.
But they did add
that as well. I remember Red Dead Redemption would just straight up kill you with a bobcat, just jumping out of nowhere.
No, that's just random. You. That's just random death.
Yeah.
No. This is if you don't prepare.
Right.
Here's the thing. Want to bet that there will be because Fallout New Vegas does have a hardcore mode. So at some point, I'm willing to bet you that they're going to release a hardcore mode for Starfield.
They ought to. That would be fun.
Yeah. Like I said, I'm still exploring and I'm still finding new stuff every time. I landed on a planet where there are cephalopod predators. Yes, on land, walking octopi, who are basically the lions of their world. I'm just finding new stuff every single time, And I know this is gonna Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2 coming to Steam after 3 years of Epic exclusivity. Not that big a deal. I mean, at least to a lot of people. There are a lot of people though who don't want to do multiple storefronts. So one of TJ's favorite games is going to be on Steam.
Oh yeah. Those games are still fun. Like I really enjoyed the improvements they made to them. It's awesome how much effort they put into rebuilding those games from the ground up and making them really feel awesome. Yeah. I am really upset that it's probably not going to go further than that, and we're never going to see Tony Hawk's 3 and 4.
That's maybe not true, because there was an article, which I forgot to put, but we're going to talk about it right now. It seems like Microsoft is already planning a lot of reboots and a lot of remasters already. The deal is just about closed, and people have noticed, for one thing, in Brazil that they already have Game Pass for Activision Blizzard games, but also apparently Microsoft is really looking to really exploit the properties they have with Activision Blizzard to make remasters and reboots of stuff. And I know what TJ wants the most, and that is for them to tell Vicarious Visions to make a new Tony Hawk game.
Either a new Tony Hawk game or just like...
Oh, I meant a remaster. I mean, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 or something.
Do Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 plus 4 and then call it a day there, because we don't need Tony Hawk 5 ever again.
Oh, they could actually fix Tony Hawk 5.
I don't think you can fix that.
But yeah, a lot of people are thinking about Spyro. They want a new Spyro game in the worst way. People want a new StarCraft game. They want StarCraft 3 finally. I know a lot of people want a new Warcraft game. And some people say
we're never getting a new Warcraft game. That's never happening.
You never know. Someone new is the landlord. We have a new landlord now.
True.
There's a lot of people who want to have World of Warcraft come to console. Since it's easy just to plug a keyboard and mouse into your Xbox. And if they're going to do that, it's going to be on PlayStation and Switch too. It's a live service game. If they were to do World of Warcraft on console, they want it on all consoles.
Oh, I'm waiting for Sierra games to be revived. Since you're saying Warcraft.
They do. They have. Isn't the new? Didn't they talk about a new King's Quest being made?
I don't think so.
I know that Phil Spencer mentioned it. That King's Quest was one of his favorite. Yeah.
But
if he's talking about it, it's probably going to happen. Although people are still obsessing over the Hexen T-shirt that he was wearing for the Starfield Direct, and I
love some Hexen.
I know a lot of people who really want Hexen.
Yeah.
Ever played Hexen, TJ?
I've seen it in action, and I've watched a playthrough of it. It's one of those games that just looks delightful.
Yeah, it's one of the build engine games. The thing that it's most famous for is you can put a sheep on a catapult and launch it.
Nice.
The Talos Principle 2's philosophical puzzling service arrives this November on PS5, Series XS, and PC. I really enjoyed the first Talos Principle. It's a nice puzzle game. It also has a lot of philosophical stuff going on, and I'm looking forward to Talos Principle 2. Well, I will say this. The game was made by Crow Team, and it shows, because when you're walking around that environment, I always expect thousands of headless guys with bombs on their hands to run at me screaming. It's the same exact environments as Serious Sam. You haven't played Talos Principle, have you?
No, I haven't played it.
Have you, Scott?
Played what now? I'm sorry?
Talos Principle.
Oh, no, I haven't played it.
Oh, why not? Hey,
game.
You said that you liked Myst and The Seventh Guest and that sort of stuff. If you like those games, you have to play the Talos Principle.
I'll definitely look into that.
Or, what was that game? The Witness. It's also, it's also a lot like The Witness. I haven't played The Witness in a long while. I might go back into it.
I see there's a Talos Principle 2 coming.
Yes, that's what I said, because it's coming in November. Dev cancels Switch port of Wipeout-style Blazer Ballistic NG, blaming controversial Unity fees. Says Nintendo's Unity version policy means it'll be impossible to avoid new pricing. The Unity thing is something we really haven't discussed in detail. I think we mentioned it last week, but we didn't really get into it. Basically, Unity wants to do a larger sub fee for their games, and it's too expensive for indie games. And part of it was that Unity wanted Microsoft, Sony, and Nintendo to subsidize these games. The thing is, I know Microsoft subsidizes them for ID at Xbox. I don't know what Sony and Nintendo do, although I don't really think Nintendo would ever subsidize a third-party game. It's not first-party, they don't care. It sucks because you can always use a new Wipeout game.
Yeah, and it's got to be so incredibly stressful to be a Unity dev, and having seen these last 2 weeks, just how much back and forth there's been, and them reverting and going back but hiding shitty things in each set that they go with.
But here's the problem. Unity has to make money somehow, because in their entire existence, they've only made a profit for one quarter. That's it. Everything else has been a loss. So they're stuck in a hard place too. There has to be a way for this to come together. I would like it if Microsoft, Nintendo, and Sony all, gave them money, some money to survive on somehow. It's not going to happen, but Unity is a very flexible game engine, and there's been a lot of great Unity games. I know,
Sure.
5 years ago, it's like Unity was sort of like ew, Unity. But no, really, there's been a lot of good Unity games. A lot of AAA Unity games, too, now that I think about it. Some of them have been actually AAA games, not single-A games. I mean, not everybody can use Unreal Engine 5.
Is it more expensive to use Unreal?
Oh, yeah.
Or is it...
Actually, I know Epic has a weird thing with Unreal, the Unreal Engine. But usually...
there's some other engines, too, actually.
Yeah, the Gamebryo engine, which sucks.
No, I was going to say Gatto, and there's another one. That,
RPG Maker.
I wasn't going to say that one, no. But the Terraria developers have put forth money to devs who want to use other game engines so they can get away from Unity.
But here's the thing about Unity is that it's extremely flexible, and the reason why it's so popular is that you can multi-platform a Unity game with almost no effort. That's the big part of the Unity engine.
Mm-hmm. And I'm not saying that Unity shouldn't try to make money, but like the ecosystem that they were putting forth would have bankrupted most indie devs. Like the stupidest thing they could have come up with was that dumbass every install counts towards the weekly.
It was like 2 cents. Yeah, you get 2 cents for every install.
Yeah. Not every purchase, every install, which is like, what? Why? Why would you do that? Which everybody was right to be concerned about that, because in this age where like there's review bombing out the wazoo whenever anyone feels like slighted by a game, it's
Starfield.
It's dangerous to set a precedent where you could screw somebody over literally by deleting and reinstalling a game over and over and over and over again. I
swear, if someone else review bombs a game because they can't take out gay references or rainbow flags, I'm gonna slap them in the face. When they talk about freedom of speech, fuck you! It's not freedom of speech. You can have the mod. You just can't have it from Nexus mods. They don't want to host it. You can't force Nexus mod to host something.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway. Which mod are we talking about? The one where...
Oh, no, there's a lot of it. Like in Spider-Man, they want to take out the rainbow flags, even though it's all over the place in New York. They wanted to do it in... they wanted to remove pronouns in Baldur's Gate 3.
Oh, was it both?
And Starfield 2. No, I mean... And then I have to go to the Steam forums and see these people talking about how woke they are. It's like, shut up.
And then somebody made one to make damn it, I'm now getting his name messed up. Will. Somebody did make Will white in freaking Baldur's Gate 3. I couldn't believe that.
But it's like...
Oh my god.
The thing is that Unity has to figure out about it. I mean, usually what they do is they just take a percentage out of the sales, and that's fine. That's their right. It's an engine. That's how engines work, you know. Just raise it by a little bit. You know, if you're not making money, just explain. The thing is that people are more upset that they were so sneaky about the entire thing too. Just explain, listen, we're losing money. We need to make money somehow. So, and just, you know, I don't know. I mean, if a game blows up, they should say, well, if you sell more than 100,000 copies of a game, then we get a little bit bigger cut. And they would say that's fine because that means we're making money too.
Yeah. It's been ridiculous watching them go back and forth on what they're going to do with their policies because they, and like one of the most tone deaf things I heard was that one of the executives said that they didn't even consider an angle where somebody would uninstall and reinstall a game over and over again out of spite. It's like, hello, have you seen gaming communities these days?
Yeah, on Nintendo Switch, people uninstall and install all the time. They have to.
And speaking of out of touch,
are we going to talk about Jim Ryan that way?
Yes.
Before we do, there's something that you said that reminded me of something, and now I completely forgot it. Anyways, game news: PlayStation boss Jim Ryan to retire next spring, and this comes to us from IGN. Jim Ryan, who's been the president and CEO of Sony Interactive Entertainment (SIE) since 2019, is retiring in March 2014. Sony announced today. The news first broke via a post on X Twitter from Bloomberg's Jason Schreier before Sony confirmed it with their own announcement shortly after. Hiroki Totoki, it sounds like a character from a Studio Ghibli film, doesn't it? Hiroki Totoki, he was in Balan Wonderworld, wasn't he? Will assume the interim CEO role starting on April 1st, 2024. Oh, wait a minute. This has to be an April Fool's joke. Um, the Sony Group Corporation president, CEO, and CFO will also become the chairman of SIE starting next month to support Mr. Ryan in his transition, Sony said. You know, whenever someone says supporting someone in their transition, I think, oh, Jim Ryan's going to be Mrs. Ryan now? Additionally, Sony said Totoki will... I'm sorry, but that's a character from Super Mario Brothers, isn't it? Uh-oh, here comes a Totoki. Mario, get the star. No, it's a Totoki. It's one of the. It's a special turtle. We'll work closely with Sony Group Corporation chairman and CEO Kenichiro Yoshida to navigate PlayStation's future, including the succession of the SIE CEO role. In a statement today, Ryan cited the bullshit that he was. Cited the difficulty of living in Europe while working in North America as a reason for the decision. I don't understand this, but we'll. Anyway, after 30 years, I've made the decision to retire from SEIE in March 2024. I've relished the opportunity to have the job I love in a very special company, working with great people and incredible partners, but I found it increasingly difficult to reconcile living in Europe and working in North America. I will leave having been privileged. What? You're living in Europe and working in North America? Dude, you don't have to go anywhere to do that job, except to make appearances at conventions. I will leave having been privileged to work on products that have touched millions of lives across the world. PlayStation will always be a part of my life, and I feel more optimistic than ever about the future of SIE. I want to thank Yoshida-san for placing so much trust in me and being an incredibly sensitive and supportive leader. The move, of course, is a massive shakeup in the industry, especially as the PlayStation division has been a lucrative one for Sony. In July, Sony said that the PlayStation 5 has sold 40 million units since the console's launch in November 2020, tracking slightly behind the PS4, but still a major milestone. I have to put an asterisk on that. That is not sales to consumers. That is sales to retailers. There is a difference. But even so, Ryan started his career at PlayStation's European branch in 1994. He would go on to hold various leadership positions before replacing John Kodera as president and CEO of SIE in 2019. And, before Kodera, it was that other guy who was a complete liar. Anyways, I find it interesting he's deciding to retire now because PlayStation has been losing market share in the last year. And here's the thing. Last year, they had 46.3% of the market. In 2022, they went down to 45%. Meanwhile, Microsoft went up. I thought Nintendo went up as well, but I guess not. No, wait, that has to be 27, shouldn't it? Because that doesn't add up to 100%. 40, 33. Oh, no, it does add up. Okay, never mind. So what I see here is that I think what's slowly going on is that you're going to have a 33, 33, 33 at some point. I think Sony is not losing audience. It's just the other two are gaining more audience. But still, they lost, $1.5 or $1.6 billion. And there's just been so much bad press. Aside from the PlayStation leakage of stuff, we're going to discuss that later. But Jim Ryan has kept on poo-pooing everything that Microsoft has done and then finding out, wait, they're making money with it and copying it. Case in point, selling games on Steam. Microsoft said, you know what? We're going to sell our games on Steam. Oh, look at all the money we're getting from PC users. And Sony says, I guess we're going to have to sell on PC too, except Microsoft went all in and sells their games day one on Steam, while you have to wait for the games to be sold on PC from Sony. And then they poo-pooed Game Pass, and Game Pass made money, and they said, oh, we're going to have PS Plus. Okay.
Early 2024, and the game came out, let me think, that was last year, right? That was last year, March?
Which?
I think that's right.
Which game?
And so, I was just saying, like, Horizon Forbidden West is about to come to PC in early 2024, and that game launched in March 2022.
Yeah. Spider-Man took a while.
So you're talking about a year and a half, almost 2 years before it comes to before a quality game gets ported to PC.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Microsoft just releases it immediately. A lot of people are excited over Forza Motorsport on PC. That's one of the major games. I keep on thinking about City Skylines, but that's third-party game. I'm sorry, but I think about it a lot. I know you do too, TJ.
I was just thinking about like how long it took for this to happen. Like, I don't care how good Jim Ryan is at business. That guy is so incredibly out of touch with his customers. And when he's not out of touch with them, he's like intentionally antagonistic towards them. Like, his takes on backwards compatibility are the stupidest shit I've ever heard. Like, it's...
Who wants to play old games?
Who wants to play old games when there's new ones? It's like people that like... I don't not want to read The Lord of the Rings because fucking newer books have come out.
Or Peter Jackson ruined the story. I mean, yeah, I'm going to throw away my 1965 red convertible Spitfire because Aston Martin came out with something this year. No. Who wants that old thing? It's old. I'm not going to watch Citizen Kane.
And he's shown that active and you know where we've seen a big display of that active antagonism towards the gaming industry is in these as in the FTC and Microsoft cases and in fact most of the hearings regarding Activision Blizzard and Microsoft. Every time Jim Ryan ends up in an email, it's usually something about him being a pompous asshole about like one thing or another regarding business in the industry or Microsoft.
And when he's not an asshole, he ends up contradicting that, like in the emails, Jim told, it's okay if Microsoft gets Activision Blizzard, we'll talk to them. Call of Duty is going nowhere, he's a cool dude. We'll discuss it and blah, blah, blah. And then in the FTC, they're going to take away Call of Duty forever. And did he not know that those emails existed that showed him he was pretty confident it would be?
Nah. So Jim Ryan has always struck me as either A, an incredibly sleazy person, or B, a complete idiot.
Or he could be somewhere in the middle. I mean, I don't know.
The kind of person that would make someone like Satoru Iwata just roll over in his grave because that guy legitimately cared. He was a gamer first and a businessman second.
Well, I will say this, though. He's an angel compared to Jack Tretton. You remember Jack Tretton?
Yeah.
Remember him? He said, I will give $700 to anybody who finds a PlayStation 4 in the available. I mean, no, it was a PlayStation 3. Hey, Penny Arcade just ripped into shreds. They took photos of unsold PlayStation 3s. They're like, here's 5 of them in this store. Can we have our $3,500, Jack? Jack did so many sleazy things. So many. Remember, he's the one behind the Sony exploding batteries. He's the one behind the rootkit on CDs. You remember that pleasant thing in which the CDs would install rootkits on that were actually worms?
Yeah. And, like, I don't know, man. Like, Jim Ryan, John Riccatello, Bobby Kotick, every one of those guys can just fuck right off into the sunset.
Here's the thing. The best thing that Microsoft ever did was get a guy who loves gaming. Phil Spencer, whatever you want to say about him, he loves to play games. And it shows. He saw Starfield being developed at Bethesda, and he told Microsoft, buy them. Buy them now. We do not want Sony making this a PlayStation exclusive.
I like... say what you want about what the flounders that Square Enix has made, but their president right now, the one that kind of just came in, like he started off one of his first official hearings at like the Final Fantasy Fan Fest by talking about how like he played Dragon Warrior a lot when he was little because he didn't have enough money to get his hands on Final Fantasy at the time, and like I was like, I like this guy. I like the cut of his jib. That's a story that I can identify with. Like, well, I'm pretty sure cares about games.
I'm pretty sure you love the Capcom boss then, who just said today, games are not expensive enough. $70 isn't enough. We need to raise the price. I'm not
I can't
kidding.
really say anything good. I can't really say too many bad things about Capcom because they've been killing it for the most part lately.
Yeah, well now Haruhito Shizimoto said at Tokyo Game Show, yeah, we need to raise the price from $70. It's too cheap.
I thought he was talking. I thought I saw him talking about the games that were still running at like $50 and $60.
No, he said. Oh no, I'm sorry. Yeah, Capcom's going to start charging $70 because the price $60 is too low.
Yeah. So I mean, like, we're getting to the point where most of them are ending up at that price point. Although the asking $60 for Resident Evil 4 on a cell phone is a bit much for,
Yeah.
in my opinion.
Yeah, that's weird.
I guess we'll just wait longer for sales then.
Yeah, no kidding.
Or just get Game Pass. See, that's my answer. Oh, game prices are going up. I mean, Game Pass prices may go up a little bit too again, but then again, it's a lot cheaper than having to spend $70 every time I want to play a new game. And I enjoy my indie games. I already talked about Vampire Survivor, but at some point I want to play a game that blows my eyes and ears. I just want something that's a visual feast. Anyways, we're gonna move on to the next item. Go ahead, TJ.
MetaQuest 3 is coming on October 10th from PC Gamer. During today's MetaConnect keynote, Meta announced the Quest 3 in June, but aside from giving a price, it was light on details. The first big bit of news that we got during today's presentation was that the Quest 3 will have Xbox Cloud gaming support that lets you stream Xbox Game Pass games with a Bluetooth controller onto a virtual screen atop of your dinner table. The headset will support AirLink, and you can connect it to your PC with a Quest Link cable, which means you'll be able to play Steam VR games and have backwards compatibility with Quest 2 VR games and AR apps.
So just so you know, here's the thing. It supports AirLink and Quest Link. They both are on the Quest 2. I'm just hoping that the AirLink is actually free this time around.
It probably won't be. They charge like $60 for that cable.
No, not the cable, the AirLink, which is connecting via Wi-Fi.
Oh.
The software itself costs like $20.
Oh, I didn't know that you actually had to pay for the AirLink software. That's kind of skeezy.
Well, I have a Quest Link cable anyway.
I was just talking about how like the cable to connect your.
Oh, I use that. Yeah, but I spent $70 for that. But then again,
that's what I'm saying.
That's a high-speed
cable.
Here's the thing: it's a high-speed USB-C. It's a special high-speed USB-C cable that you can get anywhere. So.
I know, but the fact that Meta is like, give us $70 for it is pretty egregious.
Well, it's normally costs $70 if you go to Amazon. So, I mean, I guess if you want it, may it have it come with the thing. Sure, that would love that, but it's not going to happen.
Anywho, the Quest 3 supports 2064 and 2020 or 2208 per eye resolution on pancake lenses similar to the Quest Pro, with a refresh rate of 90 Hz and a 120 Hz experimental option. It's got a pair of RGB color pass-through cameras and a depth projector that lets you see and interact with the real world. So you don't have to take the headset off to check your phone or make sure that you don't fall down a flight of stairs.
Now, the Quest 2 is monochrome. It's different shades of gray. Does that mean we're going to have that now in color? Cool.
It sounds like it. Which, that's cool. That's a nice upgrade over the Quest 2.
Yeah.
Powering the Quest 3 is a Snapdragon XR2 Gen 2, which Meta says delivers double the GPU processing power for faster load times. The pass-through camera means the headset will digitally map your room, allowing mixed reality games like Stranger Things to overlay game assets over physical ones, like opening portals in your living room or placing Beat Saber rewards in a digital trophy case.
I wonder if they're going to have Pokemon Go on the Quest 2 then. That would be neat.
I would think that they would have done it already at this point if they had plans for it, but who knows? There's a lot of things you could do with like the existing AR games. I would actually love to see like Pikmin Bloom on something like that.
No, they just have Pokemon VR. That's it.
The controllers ditched the tracking ring, which I love this particular part, for a slimmer form factor. And Quest 3 also supports controllerless hand tracking. The headset weighs around 515 grams, and Meta claims it has a 40% slimmer optic profile for better comfort. Do you know, like, that's one thing that's always annoyed me about VR headsets, whether it was the Quest 2 or the PSVR 2. I have big hands, and you have to, like, shove your knuckles through those rings to hold those. And I don't know. I always, like, scratch myself trying to get my hand set up in those things proper.
I agree with that. My hands feel big when I see some of these controllers that are just like too small or too cramped.
I just hate having to wear that stupid Oculus Quest 2 helmet. It's like heavy.
Yeah. I hope they do a little something to like balance it out so it's not like putting all the weight on your face this time. But I'm also happy to see that those rings are gone because it's now using like there's cameras inside the top of the remote that like track your hands as opposed to the rings that were doing it before now. Which good. I'm glad that I don't have to like mold my hands into a tiny little controller ring to make it work now. Meta also claims the Quest 3 will get an average of 2.2 hours of battery life. A charging dock sold separately will wirelessly recharge the headset and controllers for $150. If not, the controllers will take regular AA batteries. You can pre-order the Quest 3 for $500 for the 128 gigabyte version, or $650 for the 512 gigabyte model. It will start shipping on October 10th. Each Quest 3 will ship with a free copy of Asgard's Wrath, a fantasy FPS melee adventure game.
Yeah, that's where I'm stopping because this is a lot more expensive than the Quest 2 was. I don't need the 512 gigabyte model because most of the games I'm going to be playing are going to be through Steam and other stuff. It's not going to be games that I'm going to be storing on the headset itself. And it's a real problem for me because as much as I love my Quest 2, I don't use it that much at all. So what this would mean was I'd get a Quest 3 for $500 and then like use it a few days every year or something like that. I don't know. I will say this. I always wanted to play Elite Dangerous 3 with better resolution and or Star Wars Guardians. Star Wars Squadrons with it. Because that's the one thing that Starfield does not have, and that is VR. And I'm pretty sure someone's going to patch it in because every single Bethesda role-playing game has had a VR version, Skyrim and Fallout 4. So hopefully they do it for Starfield. It's one of those things in which I want to live my life in the science fiction universe, which is what Starfield allowed me to do. And if I get to do it with VR, that would be that much better.
I'm just happy to have an upgraded. Like, I like the idea of everything that we've seen about the Quest 3 so far, and I would be willing to pay like the $500 because I like the thing that has always made the Quest line stand above the rest of them to me. Is the portability of the matter. Like, I don't have to set up shit.
That's the other thing is that unless if you're doing the Quest Link, then but that's the only wire you have to deal with. The only wire is if you're using the Quest Link to attach to your computer. Everything else,
you can pack it into a suitcase, take it halfway across the country, put the headset on, let us do a scan of the room, and then you're set to go. It's that simple, and I've always loved that about it.
I have to warn everybody, though, do not use the Quest outside, not because you look like a goofball in public, but playing it outside might burn out the sensors and might burn out your VR goggles. So it's like
right.
You do it indoors. It's the safest way without damaging your Quest.
Yep, but I've always loved the portability of it, and the Quest 3 is looking like it's a little bit better in nearly every way. That the controllers themselves not having the rings anymore is a big plus for me.
You know, it's a really big plus is being able to use it sitting down, and having the stationary mode in which it just says, okay, where are you sitting? You're there. Good. I also like it when you're not doing the stationary mode and you have to mark out the area that you can play in. It's really cool.
Yeah, and it like shows you the wire grid when you're getting close to the boundary.
Yeah. Although it's kind of weird. It's like whenever that happens, whenever I get too close to the wire, it's sort of like exiting the Matrix. It's like, whoa, I'm leaving the Matrix. I'm going into the real world now.
I I have a bar stool that I literally use for any time I'm going to play sitting mode, just because I like to be able to rotate. But
It's a tough choice. I mean, do I want to get it now or do I want to wait? Here's the fucked up part about this. It's shipping on October 10th. You know what that means, right? You're going to have the Christmas rush. And it's like they're going to be incredibly hard to find for a while. So it's either you pre-order it now or you sit out and wait. And I think this time around, I might sit out and wait.
Yeah, that's fair enough. It's not going to, I mean, they're still going to have more of them next year when the Christmas rush is over.
Yeah.
And that gives them time to fill out the Quest 3 library.
And also it gives them time to fix out the inevitable day one bugs that are going to be in that thing. And you have, and when I first get it, it's going to say, okay, wait, we have to update the firmware.
Because you look at the games that they announced for the Quest 3 today, and most of them are just either ports of Quest 2 games or they are AR games, like the Stranger Things game that they keep mentioning.
I only have one game that I bought that's only for the Quest, and that is, of course, Fruit Ninja, which is a game that was made for VR.
But all I'm saying is that it's probably going to be a little bit further before they start making games that can not play on the Quest 2 and need to be played on the Quest 3.
Holy shit! I just realized it's going to be. Here's the thing: they're doing the Game Pass thing, right? And all of a sudden, wait a minute, I can play Starfield. No, it's just going to be a virtual screen to play it on. It's not going to actually be in. But I'm still hoping, that they will make a VR version of Starfield. I mean, they did it with, like I said, they did it with Skyrim. They did it with Fallout 4 to varying levels of quality. But still.
Yeah. It will be interesting to see how that plays out.
Not to just I play on the Oculus Quest just to play Slay the Spire. Actually, that's the thing. The Ryzen things, that you attach to your controller, to your cell phone, they don't fit my Samsung Galaxy 12S Ultra. So this might be a way to get around that instead of, I just have to hope I don't get a headache playing Slay the Spire on a virtual headset. Anyways, we're going to move on to the next item. Go ahead, Scott.
Okay. Let's see. All of Sony systems allegedly hacked by a new ransomware group. This is from Kotaku. According to a September 25th article from Australian cybersecurity publication Cybersecurity Connect, the PlayStation maker was cracked open by ransomware.vc, a new outfit of hackers that's only been operating since September. Though the publication suggests the gang has connections to previous dark web forums and groups.
Read that as North Korea.
Cybersecurity Connect reports that the hack allegedly unearthed screenshots of Sony's internal login page, an internal PowerPoint presentation outlining test bench details, and several Java files, and a document tree of an entire leak housing 6,000 files. We have successfully compromised all of Sony's systems, ransom.vc proclaimed. We won't ransom them. We will sell the data due to Sony not wanting to pay. Data is for sale. We are selling it.
Wait a minute. Hold on 1 second. We won't ransom them. We'll sell the data because Sony's not willing to pay. Dude, that is ransoming. They refuse to pay your ransom fee. You are not ransoming it. Not anymore. Now you're just
kind of surprised they're proclaiming this. Won't the authorities just, go arrest them? I don't.
If they can find
understand.
They probably feel pretty secure behind the veil of anonymity, but
behind the veil of North Korea. Yeah. I'm saying right now it's probably North Korea group.
Let's see which one we're at now.
We don't need to go any further.
Okay.
The thing is that from judging from 6,000 files, I don't think this is actual user information. What I think this is all of Sony's emails. I think they hacked the email server.
I'm still changing my password.
Yeah, I mean, look, you should always be changing your password every 6 months, just change it.
And it's just exhausting, but yeah.
It's a pain, but, just find string of numbers and letters that you really like, write it down on a pen and paper, and then just do it. The thing is, a lot of these things have secondary protection anyway. Like if I don't remember my email, they just text me and my phone number, and they just let me go through without having to enter my password on some stuff. It's like, oh, you forgot? Well, just do this code that we texted to you, and everything's fine. But still, the thing is that Sony's still not secure enough to protect their own corporate servers. Now, the other thing that they did not talk about is the fact that this is all from Sony Japan, right? So the part that was hacked was Sony Japan. And I know every PlayStation Network gamer remembers 2013 when Sony got hacked and 77 million people had their information exposed. And the bad part was Sony did not say anything about it for a week. They decided to not say anything, which was really bad. But hey, in exchange for getting your account hacked, they gave you a free copy of either what was it, Infamous, or a lot of
Planet.
Yeah, all these second tier games that had been out for like a year. It's like, it's like Microsoft saying, oh, you got hacked, here's a copy of Halo 3.
Yeah, this is just the reason people have every reason to be concerned for this is that there's so much precedent behind Sony getting hacked like this.
At the very worst, it's bad optics. It's bad optics.
The PlayStation 3 kit getting exposed that made it so that people's PS3s were hackable
let's not forget when North Korea hacked Sony because they were angry at the movie The Interview. Remember that?
Then there was that one Christmas where they completely shut down hackers completely shut down the PlayStation Network with a DDoS attack. There's been a lot of mass attacks targeted at Sony.
I mean, once Xbox Live got DDoS'd, but the thing is that it was surprising for people with Microsoft because that usually does not happen. And DDoS attacks aren't that difficult to do, but basically, if people don't know what it is, it's a denial of service attack, and all it does is send so much junk into your servers that it can't handle all of it, so it blocks everybody else out because it's dealing with constant streams of junk data going into it. So that's not exactly a hack. That's just your server being compromised, and you just have to get better server protection, better firewall. But yeah, information being leaked out is bad.
Yeah, definitely. That's definitely me changing my password and making sure that my any of my financial information that I've had is secured, because there are too many previous cases of this being true for people to take risks about it.
And as a final note is always recycle your password every a few months. I mean, even if you're not afraid of people hacking your thing, you never know. Just change it every so often. For no other reason than you should change it every so often.
Yep. It's a real shame. It's probably going to create a lot of problems, especially going into the holiday season. But
it'll be interesting to see how this evolves too. I mean, they say they hacked this part, and the thing that's on everybody's minds is what other parts can they hack too?
Yeah, and something tells me that Sony got caught with their pants down, because the fact that they could only say today that they are investigating the matter, no further comment at this time.
But here's the thing: how come they keep getting caught with their pants down? It's like, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Fool me 3 times, you're gonna sue me, aren't you? Oh, by the way, this is also the origin of the can't sue me clause in things now, in which everything and everybody followed. I mean, EA quickly followed and Microsoft followed, in which they put the clause that you can't do a class action suit against them for this. So yeah, Sony included that little thing too, the can't class action suit us clause in their stuff. Isn't that wonderful? They want to protect themselves by saying, oh, at least you can't do a class action lawsuit against us, which is bullshit. Because if you're ripped off from them, of course you can sue them. They can say whatever they want. No, you can't. No, yes, we can. Watch us. Oh, by the way, I got $250 for some Apple class action lawsuit from a few years ago. I'm just shocked. I thought, oh, I'm probably going to get $8. You know how it is with class action lawsuit. You know, it's like they win 20 million people, but there were 10 million people who are things. So everybody gets $2 out of it. No, the security thing from my iPad apparently was worth $250 for me. So thank you. Thank you, Apple. A few more lawsuits like that. Maybe I will buy the Quest 3. So, yeah. Anyway, look for
Don't worry, everybody. They won't ransom the data. They'll just sell it.
Yeah. They already tried to ransom it. and Sony didn't pay. Which is, by the way, the right thing to do. Don't pay a ransomer, because they're just going to, especially if they don't give you the information. What are they going to do? Okay, we promise never to hack you again, especially now that we know that you'll pay for it. Yeah, so Sony had to not pay. That's basically it. And probably what they saw was, we don't care. But like I said, if they could hack that, who knows what else they could hack? And Sony really needs to get some cybersecurity experts in their company. Really, this happens too much. This doesn't happen to Nintendo. I mean, when was the last time you heard Nintendo I'm pretty sure someone's going to write back, well, actually, back in 2013, Nintendo was hacked, and I don't know. But I'm just saying, this doesn't happen in the press to Nintendo. Because maybe Nintendo actually hires cybersecurity people. Microsoft is a software company. They definitely have people who are experts at cybersecurity. Sony?
I mean, there's also precedent for the fact that, like, the last people that tried to hack Nintendo consoles, one of them went to prison and is now paying paying Nintendo for the rest of their life.
Remember, Microsoft makes Windows. They know people want to hack the shit out of Windows.
Mm-hmm.
That's given them experience with dealing with cybersecurity. Sony, this is not a TV. This is the internet. It's not a TV. No one. You can hack TVs now, but it's not like it's going to steal your. Oh, actually, it could with smart TVs. But I'm just saying, it's not a radio. It's not a TV. It's not an MP3 player. It's the internet. Internet is bad. Internet is the woods. Internet has bad things in it. You got to learn. I got a couple of emails today. I don't know what list I got, but they all spelt my name in all lowercase letters. Somewhere there's information about me with my name in lowercase letters. Go right to the spam. Never download. Anyways, look for our show notes at gamingpodcast.net along with industry news and our gaming history articles. We enjoy feedback. Leave us comments at our blog at gamingpodcast.net. Also, hit us up at facebook.com/gamingpodcast. Subscribe to us on iTunes. Leave us iTunes comments. You can find me on Twitter, X at Jonah Falcon.
You can find me at Johnny Chugs.
You can find me at Trevor Moore.
And we will see you next week.
Happy gaming, everyone.
Have fun. Be cool. Play the games, y'all.